My partner expected tears, questions, and late-night messages when she left. I gave no reaction. That calm absence confused her more than any argument ever could, and slowly shifted the balance in a direction she didn't control. I need space to figure out what I really want. She said it standing by the door with 2 suitcases packed, expecting me to fall apart. I just nodded and asked if she needed help loading her car. The confusion on her face was immediate. Her mouth opened, then closed. She stared at me like I'd just spoken a foreign language. I wasn't being cold or trying to hurt her. I was just done playing the game where I chase someone who keeps running. We'd been together for years. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. I'm 31, she's 29. We'd talked about marriage, kids, the whole future. Then suddenly she needed space. That's it, she asked, her voice cracking slightly. You're not going to ask me anything? What would you like me to ask? I don't know. Where I'm going. How long I'll be gone. If there's someone else. I picked up my coffee from the counter and took a sip. If you wanted me to know those things, you'd tell me. You're an adult making a choice. I'm respecting that choice. Her hand tightened on the suitcase handle. You're being really cold right now. I'm being calm. There's a difference. She stood there for another minute, clearly waiting for something. An emotional outburst maybe. Tears. Begging. I gave her nothing but steady eye contact and silence. Finally, she grabbed both suitcases and walked out. The door closed with a soft click, not a slam. Somehow that felt worse. I stood in the kitchen for a while, listening to the sound of her car starting and pulling away. Then I went back to my coffee and the work emails I'd been ignoring. People always tell you that breakups are supposed to hurt. They're supposed to shatter you. But what they don't tell you is that sometimes you've already done the hurting. Sometimes by the time someone leaves, you've already grieved the relationship in real time, watching it die slowly over months. The first week was quiet. I went to work, hit the gym, saw friends. I didn't post cryptic social media updates or delete photos of us. I just existed normally. My phone stayed silent. No late-night texts asking if I was okay. No drunk calls crying about missing me. Nothing. I'd expected that. What I hadn't expected was the mutual friends starting to reach out. First it was Trevor, her longtime friend. Hey man, just checking in. Heard about you and Melissa. You doing all right? Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for asking. That's it. You're good. What do you want me to say, Trevor? I don't know. Most guys would be a mess right now. She said you barely reacted when she left. She's entitled to leave. I'm entitled to accept that without falling apart. He went quiet for a second. She's pretty confused, you know. She thought you'd fight for her. Fighting for someone and respecting their stated needs are 2 different things. She said she needed space. I'm giving her exactly what she asked for. Cold, man. That's cold. I hung up shortly after. I wasn't being cold. I was being honest. You can't force someone to want you. And I'd learned that lesson the hard way over the past 6 months. The second week brought more interesting developments. Her sister Madison called me. We'd always gotten along well. I'm supposed to be on her side, Madison said without preamble. But I'm really confused right now. About what? About why you're not devastated. She keeps talking about how you didn't care, how you let her walk out without a word. That's not what happened. She told me she needed space. I asked if she needed help with her bags. She asked if I had questions. I said if she wanted me to know something, she'd tell me. Madison laughed, short and sharp. God, no wonder she's losing her mind. I'm not playing games, Madison. I meant what I said. I know. That's what's driving her crazy. She expected the usual script, you know? The one where you beg and plead, and she gets to feel wanted while figuring out if the grass is greener. And instead you treated her like an adult who made an adult decision, and now she doesn't know what to do with that. I didn't respond. For what it's worth, Madison continued, I think she messed up, but that's between you two. After she hung up, I sat with that conversation for a while. I hadn't considered that my reaction, or lack thereof, would be its own message. But it made sense. In every previous argument or rough patch, I'd been the one reaching out. I'd been the one apologizing first, even when I wasn't wrong. I'd been the one making grand gestures to fix things. This time I'd done nothing. And nothing was apparently the loudest statement I'd ever made. Week 3 brought the first direct contact. A text message at 11 p.m. on a Thursday. Can't sleep. Keep thinking about us. I read it twice, then set my phone down and went back to the book I was reading. I didn't respond. The next morning there was another. I know you're seeing these. Why aren't you answering? I made breakfast, went to work, lived my day. That evening, my phone rang. Melissa's name lit up the screen. I let it go to voicemail. She called again an hour later. Again, voicemail. The third time, I answered. Hey. Oh my God, you actually picked up. She sounded breathless, relieved. You called 3 times. Figured it might be important. I've been texting you. You haven't responded. I saw them. Silence stretched between us. And, she finally asked. And what? And aren't you going to say anything? About what specifically? About us. About what happened. About whether you miss me or hate me or anything. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling. You asked for space. I'm giving you space. That includes not putting emotional pressure on you through texts or calls. That's not what space means. Then maybe you should clarify what you meant when you left. I meant I needed time to think. Not that I wanted you to disappear. I haven't disappeared. I'm right here. You know my number, my address, where I work. I'm exactly where I've always been. But you're different. Am I? Or are you just noticing that I'm not chasing you? She made a frustrated sound. This isn't how this was supposed to go. How was it supposed to go, Melissa? I don't know. But not like this. You were supposed to care. I do care. That's why I'm respecting what you said you needed. Stop saying that. Stop being so fucking calm about everything. Would you prefer I lose my mind? Call you crying? Show up at your place demanding answers? Maybe. At least then I'd know you actually gave a shit about us. I closed my eyes. This was the core of it. The real issue we'd been dancing around for months. You wanted me to suffer, I said quietly. That's what this is about. You wanted to leave and have me fall apart so you could feel certain that I loved you. That's not. It is. You wanted the validation of knowing I'd be destroyed without you. And when I wasn't destroyed, when I just accepted your choice and moved on with my life, it made you question everything. She was crying now. I could hear it in her breathing. You were supposed to fight for us. I've been fighting for us for 6 months, Melissa. Every time you pulled away, I pulled you back. Every time you questioned us, I reassured you. Every time you created distance, I closed it. I fought and fought and fought until I had nothing left to fight with. I didn't know. You did know. You just didn't think I'd ever stop. More silence. So that's it then? We're done. You left. You made that choice. I'm living with it. But what if I made a mistake? Then you made a mistake. We all make them. Can we talk? In person? I thought about it. Really thought about it. To what end? To figure out if we can fix this. Melissa, I need you to be honest with yourself about something. Do you miss me? Or do you miss the idea of someone missing you? She sucked in a sharp breath. That's not fair. It's the most fair question I can ask. Because if you come back and nothing has changed, we'll just end up right back here in 6 months or a year. Things would be different. How? She didn't have an answer. We sat in silence for almost a minute. I should go, I finally said. Wait. Take care of yourself, Melissa. I hung up. My hand was shaking slightly. That had been harder than I'd expected. Week 4 was when things escalated. She started showing up. First at my gym. She was just in the area and thought she'd work out too. I nodded hello and put my headphones back in. Then at the coffee shop I always went to on Saturday mornings. Funny seeing you here, she said, sliding into the seat across from me. Not really. I come here every Saturday. Have for 3 years. Right. I forgot. She hadn't forgotten. We both knew it. How have you been? She asked. Fine. You? Okay. Staying with a friend. It's temporary. I nodded and went back to my book. Are you seriously just going to ignore me? I'm not ignoring you. I said hello. I answered your question. But I'm not going to pretend this is a coincidence or have a deep conversation in a coffee shop. When can we have a deep conversation? I don't know that we need to. Her face crumpled. You really don't care anymore, do you? I set my book down and looked at her directly. I care about you as a person. I hope you're happy and healthy and living a good life. But I'm not going to be your emotional safety net while you figure out if you want me or not. It's not like that. It's exactly like that. You wanted space. I gave it to you. Now you want attention. But I'm not a yo-yo you can toss away and reel back in whenever you feel uncertain. I made a mistake. Several people turned to look. I kept my voice level. Maybe you did. But that doesn't obligate me to pretend it didn't happen. I picked up my book and my coffee and moved to a different table. She sat there alone for 10 minutes, then left. I felt like shit for the rest of the day. Not because I'd been wrong. Because choosing yourself when someone else wants you to choose them always feels cruel, even when it's necessary. That night, Madison called again. She's spiraling. I know. She's convinced you've moved on. That there's someone else. There's not. I told her that. She doesn't believe it. She can't understand how you're so okay. I rubbed my temples. I'm not okay, Madison. I'm just not falling apart where she can see it. Have you fallen apart where anyone can see it? No. Why not? Because falling apart doesn't fix anything. It just makes you feel productive while you're standing still. She made a thoughtful sound. Can I ask you something personal? Go ahead. When did you stop loving her? The question hit harder than I expected. I haven't stopped. That's what makes this so hard. I love her. I probably always will. But I love myself more now, and I can't go back to a relationship where I'm constantly proving my worth. That's really mature. It doesn't feel mature. It feels like giving up. It's not. Trust me. I've watched her relationships for years. You're the first person who hasn't played the game, and she doesn't know how to handle that. After we hung up, I poured myself a drink and sat in the dark. Loving someone and walking away from them are not mutually exclusive. That's the part they don't tell you. You can love someone deeply and still know that being with them is destroying you. Month 2 brought an unexpected development. She called me from a number I didn't recognize. Before you hang up, please just listen. I didn't hang up. I've started therapy. Real therapy, not just the one session to say I tried. I'm going twice a week. That's good. I'm glad. My therapist asked me about our relationship, about why I left and what I expected to happen. I waited. I told her I expected you to fight for me, to show me you cared, and she asked me why I needed you to suffer to feel loved. My chest tightened. That's a good therapist. She said I have an anxious attachment style, that I create distance to test people's commitment, that I've been doing it my whole life. Okay, I did it to you. For months. Every time we got closer, I'd pull away. I'd find something wrong or create a problem. And you'd fix it. You'd reassure me. And it felt good. Until it didn't. Until it didn't, she agreed. Until I pushed too far and you didn't pull me back. What did your therapist say about that? She said you did the healthiest thing possible. That you set a boundary and held it. That I needed to experience consequences for my behavior. I didn't know what to say to that. I'm not calling to ask you to take me back, Melissa continued. I'm calling to apologize. For using you. For treating your love like it was infinite and I could waste it. I appreciate that. Do you hate me? No. I could never hate you. Do you think we could ever try again? I took a long breath. Honestly, I don't know. Right now I think we both need to focus on ourselves. You need to work through your stuff. I need to figure out who I am outside of constantly managing someone else's emotional needs. That's fair. But I don't want you to do the work thinking it guarantees we'll get back together. You should do it for yourself, regardless of what happens with us. I know. My therapist said the same thing. We talked for a few more minutes, then said goodbye. It was the first conversation we'd had in 2 months that felt honest. The weeks that followed were strange. She'd text occasionally with updates on therapy or random thoughts. I'd respond, but kept things surface level. We weren't together, but we weren't completely separate either. We existed in some undefined middle space. Her birthday came in month 3. I debated whether to acknowledge it. Ultimately, I sent a simple text. Happy birthday. Hope it's a good one. She responded an hour later. Thank you. That means a lot. Then, unexpectedly, I'm having a small thing at my friend's place tonight. Just a few people. You're welcome to come if you want. No pressure. I stared at the message for a long time. Going felt like backsliding. Not going felt needlessly cold. I compromised. I have plans tonight, but I hope you have fun. Enjoy your day. It was a lie. I didn't have plans. But I also knew that showing up would send a message I wasn't ready to send. That night I got a text from Madison. She cried when you didn't come. I wasn't trying to hurt her. I know. But she got her hopes up. That's not my responsibility anymore. I know that too. Just thought you should know. I sat with that guilt for days. But I also knew I'd made the right choice. Every step back toward her felt like losing ground I'd fought hard to gain. Month 4 brought clarity I wasn't expecting. I went on a date. Nothing serious. Just coffee with someone I'd met through work. She was smart, funny, easy to talk to. We had a nice time. I told her up front I'd recently gotten out of a long relationship and wasn't looking for anything serious. She said that was fine. She was in the same boat. We made plans to meet again. I didn't tell Melissa. We weren't together, and I didn't owe her that information. But somehow word got back to her anyway. Small town problems. My phone exploded at midnight on a Friday. 17 texts and 4 missed calls. All from Melissa. The messages ranged from hurt to angry to desperate. How could you move on so fast? Did I ever mean anything to you? I'm trying so hard, and you're already with someone else. I didn't respond that night. In the morning, I called her. We need to set some boundaries. You're seeing someone. Her voice was flat, hollow. I had coffee with someone. Once. And whether I am or not isn't your business anymore. How can you say that? Because you left, Melissa. You ended our relationship. You don't get to monitor my life anymore. I'm working on myself. I'm trying to fix things. For yourself. You should be doing that for yourself, not to get me back. But I want you back. You want the version of me who waited around forever. That person doesn't exist anymore. She was crying hard now. So you're saying there's no chance? No matter what I do. I'm saying I don't know. I'm saying I need you to stop tracking my every move and focus on your own healing. And I need the space to figure out my own life without feeling guilty for it. That's not fair. Life rarely is. I hung up feeling like the worst person alive, but also feeling lighter than I had in months. The truth was simple, even if it hurt. I'd spent so long managing her emotions that I'd forgotten what it felt like to just live mine. The date turned into a few more dates. Nothing serious developed, but it was nice to feel wanted without strings. To have conversations that weren't loaded with history and baggage. To laugh without wondering if I'd said the wrong thing. Melissa and I stopped talking almost entirely. She'd post occasionally on social media about her therapy journey and personal growth. I didn't engage with the posts, but I saw them. She looked happy in some photos. Lighter. I hoped it was real. Month 6 brought the conversation I'd been both dreading and anticipating. She texted asking if we could meet in person. There's something I need to say, and it has to be face to face. I agreed to meet at a neutral location. A park we'd never been to together. She looked different. Healthier. She'd cut her hair, and there was something calmer in her eyes. Thanks for meeting me, she said. Of course. We walked for a bit in silence. My therapist thinks I'm ready to have this conversation, she finally said. I'm not sure I agree, but I need to say it anyway. Okay. I understand now what I did. Not just intellectually, but really understand it. I treated you like an emotional support animal instead of a partner. I needed you to be constantly available for validation while I gave nothing back. I didn't argue. And when you stopped playing that role, when you set a boundary and held it, I panicked. Because I'd built my entire sense of security on your inability to walk away. Yeah, I said quietly. I'm not asking you to take me back. I know I don't deserve that. But I need you to know I'm sorry. Really sorry. Not sorry I got caught or sorry I'm facing consequences. Sorry I hurt someone I loved. I appreciate that. Is there any part of you that could forgive me? I thought about it honestly. I already have. Forgiveness isn't about you deserving it. It's about me not carrying anger around anymore. She wiped her eyes. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation, I continued. I can forgive you and still know that we're not good for each other. Are you happy with the person you're seeing? I'm not seeing anyone seriously. I went on a few dates. They didn't turn into anything. She looked surprised. I thought. You thought I'd moved on to some perfect replacement relationship? Life doesn't work like that. So you're alone? I'm single. That's different from being alone. We sat on a bench overlooking a pond. Do you ever think about us? She asked. Sometimes. Usually late at night when I can't sleep. What do you think about? The good parts mostly. The way you'd laugh at my terrible jokes. How you'd fall asleep on my shoulder during movies. The trip we took to the coast. Why just the good parts? Because the bad parts have been processed enough. I don't need to relive them. She turned to face me fully. If I told you I've changed, really changed, would you consider trying again? I met her eyes. I need to see it. Not in words or promises, but in sustained action over time. And even then, I can't promise anything. That's fair. But more importantly, you need to be changing for yourself. Not for me. Not for us. For you. My therapist says the same thing. She sounds smart. We sat in comfortable silence for a while. It was the first time in months that being near her didn't feel heavy. Can I ask you something? She said. Sure. Why didn't you fight? When I left, why didn't you try to stop me? I considered my words carefully. Because I'd been fighting for 6 months before that. Every conversation where you picked apart our relationship, I defended it. Every time you pulled away, I moved closer. Every doubt you voiced, I tried to soothe. I was exhausted. I didn't realize. I know. That was part of the problem. You were so focused on your own uncertainty that you couldn't see how much effort I was putting in to keep us together. I'm sorry. I know. We talked for another hour. About therapy, about growth, about what we'd each learned. It was honest in a way our conversations had never been before. When we finally said goodbye, she hugged me. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For not letting me get away with it. For holding the boundary. For forcing me to actually face myself. You did that. I just stopped enabling you to avoid it. She pulled back and smiled, sad but genuine. Can we stay in touch? As friends maybe. Eventually. But not yet. We both need more time. She nodded, understanding. I watched her walk to her car and drive away. This time it felt different. Like an actual ending instead of an unfinished sentence. 2 months later, I was at a work event when I ran into her. She was there with friends, celebrating someone's promotion. We made eye contact across the room. She smiled and waved. I waved back. We didn't approach each other. Later, she texted. It was good to see you. You looked happy. You too. How have you been? Really good actually. Still in therapy. Dating a little. Nothing serious. Just figuring stuff out. That's great. I'm glad. Are you seeing anyone? Casually. Taking things slow. Good for you. We exchanged a few more messages, then naturally let the conversation end. It was easy. Comfortable. Like talking to an old friend who knew you well, but no longer needed anything from you. I realized then that this was what healing looked like. Not the dramatic moment of closure you see in movies. Just a gradual letting go until the weight you'd been carrying disappeared so slowly you barely noticed it was gone. Year 1 anniversary of her leaving came and went. I almost didn't remember until Facebook reminded me with a memory from that day the year before. Me and her at a restaurant, smiling, looking happy. I looked at it for a moment, then scrolled past. That version of us was gone. Maybe it had never really existed the way I remembered it. Memory tends to smooth out the rough edges, make the good parts golden and the bad parts not quite so bad. But the truth was simpler. We'd been two people who loved each other but didn't know how to be healthy together. And sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes you need compatibility, emotional maturity, and the ability to meet each other where you are instead of where you wish you were. We hadn't had that. Maybe we never would. I'd made peace with that uncertainty. Last week I saw on social media that she's in a new relationship. She looks genuinely happy. I felt nothing but glad for her. No jealousy, no regret, no what-ifs. Just quiet satisfaction that we'd both found our way to better places, even if those places didn't include each other. Someone asked me recently if I'd do anything differently if I could go back. I thought about it for a long time. The answer was no. Everything I learned came from the pain of that experience. The boundary setting, the self-respect, the understanding that you can love someone and still choose yourself. Those lessons cost me, but they were worth the price. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe eventually Melissa and I will be real friends. Maybe we'll drift apart completely and become strangers who once knew everything about each other. Both outcomes are okay. What matters is that I learned the most important lesson. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do when someone walks away is absolutely nothing. No chasing, no begging, no grand gestures. Just calm acceptance that if someone wants to leave, you open the door and let them go. And if they come back, it should be because they genuinely want to, not because you broke yourself trying to convince them. That's not coldness. That's self-preservation. And there's nothing wrong with choosing to preserve yourself.